From the age of like, you know, a month through probably like 2 years old, something like that. So, anyway, so this was Fat Me. To give you a better picture. Okay. You can see this is right on my verge of coming, like cusp of coming out of the fatness, right? So this is like the end of the fatness, okay? You can see my brother, like an athlete, fit, you know, looking good, and then you see me with like the sumo belly coming out, you know, and I have no idea what's going on, right? My brother knows there's someone taking a picture. I have no idea, right? I don't know what it's like, what? He's smiling, that's interesting, right? No idea, completely oblivious kid. And then, okay, yeah, this is cute me walking around. You can see the stress on my face, okay? You see like the anguish that's running through. And then in the next picture, you can see how delighted I am. Now it's food, right?
But it says nutritious.
Yeah, it is nutritious. It's nutritious. Unfortunately, last year at Christmas, my girlfriend Jessica was privy to some videos.
Yeah, it's true. I can validate this.
That were very embarrassing to watch, because in every single video, you have like my brother performing some magnificent feat of athleticism, right? Like diving off the diving board, right? Dribbling the basketball swish, you know, like all these amazing things. And somewhere in the back or front of every video, you see Fat Silly Barrett. No idea that things are actually going on in the world, right? Just kind of like eating food at any given moment, right? And my parents took videos? No, these videos are not coming anywhere close to this point.
I'll bring them back after Christmas.
No. My parents took great delight in the fact that I was a fat, chubby, oblivious child, right? Because I was always happy, right? Because I was always eating, and so that, you know, it was great. But they thought it was fun to torment me. You could, like, the hand-eye coordination wasn't exactly on either, you know, like, yeah. It was bad, yeah. But they took great delight in tormenting me. So they would, you know, dress me up in a cute outfit and then bend me apple. You know, like, it's just that brings, I can't get it, right? You know, really me. What? Look, no, this is really me. I swear to you, this is me.
I'm pretty sure there was another camera.
No way. Yeah, so my parents took great delight in tormenting me. Yeah. So, but the story that I'm going to tell you that's so embarrassing.
Oh, that's not the embarrassing part?
That was like half the embarrassing part. Okay. My family had this station wagon. I don't know if you guys know they are, like they're really long cars, like in the back, you like the back seat, you can face the back, and like you're driving that way. It's totally cool. Except when you get older, you get like crazy sick. But as a kid, it's awesome, right? But my mom drove carpool with all of us kids. She'd go and like pick up all the neighborhood kids and bring us to the pool, bring us to the park, and all that stuff. And her great secret to keeping the kids happy was to feed us, right? So she always kept food in the car, right? And, you know, so like, you know, and I always enjoyed these like snack kinds my mom would pull out. Well, my dad, you know, periodically would wash the car, and he started noticing that when he was washing the car, there were tiny footprints that would go across the top of the car. And he thought, well, this is strange. Why are there footprints on the top of the car? And it's definitely from a kid, because they're like human footprints, but they're like this big, you know? So this was kind of this puzzlement, until one day, my mother came out and found me stuck halfway in the window to the car, because in the summer, right, it gets hot, and so like the M&Ms, which are my mom's favorite candy, you know, they melt, and so you have to roll down the window so that it's like the heat out. And I had discovered that if I went to the back of the car, I could jump up and like pull myself up and walk across the roof, and then grab onto the luggage rack and swing myself inside the car, open the glove compartment, take out the food, take out a little snack, you know, walk out, lock the door behind me, and go inside and go my merry way, right? Free snack in the middle of the day. All you have to do is climb on top of the car and swing yourself in. Well, unfortunately, she hadn't rolled down the window all the way, like she usually did, and so instead of swinging through into the glorious food inside, I swung about halfway in my belly, the big, you know, got stuck halfway, and I just dangled in the car. Like waiting in this window for someone to come rescue me. You know, it didn't hurt, because, you know, like the blubber's all that stuff. We were like, this is kind of awkward, let's do it. And my mother's response, of course, if you ever meet my mother, you'll come to understand some of my issues and some of the stories. But she walked out, and her first response was not deep sympathy and compassion for her hurting child who was stuck in the car window. Her first response was rolling on the ground with laughter. And then she finally managed to pick herself up off the floor with rolling laughter to go inside and get my dad. So he got stuck in the window. Right? Not any reason in mind, like, maybe we should get our son out of the window. Right? That's not really there. Right? The main idea is, you're stuck in the window. Right? And that was too big. Really clear. Like, so they're laughing, I'm laughing. It's all fun and games, right? Oh, we're laughing. Okay. And he mentioned they let me out, and we went on our way.
Did they get their camera? Or?
I don't know. I've never seen it. I haven't seen the picture, but it's on the next page. No, it's not on the next page.
Oh!
This is the post back years. This is like the one redeeming thing that I have, the redeeming picture that I have. Like a little bit cute, and then after that it's like the ugly middle, that was just weird. So it's like the one redeeming picture, so that you don't leave this, you leave here with this picture of that's just deeply scarring, right? And then you gotta go out laughing until it hurts. So the thought I'd like to draw from that is rather simple, and that is don't be fat. Oh, AJ just leaned over the leg. Sorry. The idea is me and my blubbery, fat, slow mind did not realize, right? I thought I was brilliant, and it was a genius idea. There's food in the car, and I know how to get into the car because the window's down. And somehow it never crossed my mind we had a pantry inside, and I could have gone inside, opened up the pantry door, and what am I doing? I'm playing James Bond over here, trying to get into the window to get, stale, nasty. They've been in the sun probably for months, dry cookies, and my mom probably bought fresh cookies every week, and I could have just gone inside and grabbed them from the pantry, right? That thought didn't really cross the mind. I think a lot of us do that in our lives. A lot of us are like blubbery, fat little Barretts. And we convince ourselves that this nasty, stale food that's in the car, mind you, melted M&Ms do taste pretty good, right? But they're not as good as the really crisp, fresh M&Ms, right? The in-between ones, not so much, but the fresh, crisp M&Ms, those are the best, right? So the melted ones are all right. And we convince ourselves that the melted M&Ms are pretty darn good, right? And it somehow never crosses our mind that maybe we don't have to go through all of this trouble to go inside the car and risk getting our belly stuck halfway through blubbery fat children. In this, this mental image, you guys are all blubbery fat children. Right? And it never crosses our mind that we can just go inside and eat out of the pantry whenever we wanted to. Right? A story to illustrate this from the Bible, right? My seniors, we talked about this, and I didn't answer them. Didn't tell them the purpose of it. Not this story, the one about the I didn't tell them the answer. I'm going to tell you the answer tonight. The question I gave them is, first, what was Jesus' first miracle?
The wine changed.
He went to a wedding, and they ran out of wine, and he turned water to wine. Right? Epic, right? Probably the greatest movement leader in the history of the world, right? And his first grand entrance into society of, hey guys, I'm a big deal, is he's going to turn water to wine and make a wedding party that would have only gone 2, it's at risk of going 2 days instead of 3 days, right? Oh man, this is going to be rough. People are going to have to go home early and they won't be as happy, right? This is his grandiose first miracle. So the question I posed to the seniors was, why in the world would Jesus waste his first miracle on turning water to wine at a wedding? Right? He didn't pull out the Lazarus trick first, right? He could have been oh look, here's a dead person, bam, you're raised from the dead. Yes, now I'm Jesus, hi, listen to what I have to say. Right? He could have done the whole flying around the Galilee, circles, flying Jesus kind of deal. Or the walking on the water trick, he could have done a number of things, and instead he chose to turn water to wine at a wedding that was going to go south 2 days instead of 3 days, right? I didn't tell them why. But I think the reason why Jesus chose that as his first miracle, there's this interesting part of that story where after Jesus turns the water to the wine, they bring the wine to the master of the feast. Okay? And the master of the feast has a very specific